7 ground rules for a friendly divorce. Are you thinking of or in the middle of a divorce? Is your anger at your soon to be ex driving you crazy? Do you binge watch Rosamund Pike and have casual fantasies about going all gone girl on your husband's ass? Oh, then you really need to keep watching. Seven ground rules for a friendly divorce. Well, as friendly as it can be considering the circumstances. Divorces are a natural result of a lot of hurt and broken expectations. And of course, those make you angry, sad, frustrated. And if you add kids to the equation, then of course the situation becomes 10 times more complicated and delicate, because now you just can't sit on the sofa all day watching Bridget Jones' Diary, eating 10 tubs of Ben and Jerry. You have to provide your little ones with a sense of routine and normalcy during this transition period, and hence you have to keep your mind and emotions in check. Now I get it. You're angry and you probably won't go as far as gone girl on your husband. But you sure as hell get random ideas about taking revenge, teaching him a lesson, and making sure you give him something to cry about. I've heard this from multiple men and women multiple times who have been hurt in bad marriages and relationships. So I know how natural and common this is. And in all of this, if I ask you to be friendly with the man or the woman who has hurt you the most in your entire freaking life, you'd probably want to kick me in my ovaries, right? It's okay. You're mad. I can understand, and if kicking me would make your life easier, I would even offer that. But here's the thing. That anger and frustration would still remain inside you. And things will only complicate further if both of you act like immature little children who can't handle their lives and bicker like little kids or have a bitch fest every time you see each other. For your own sake and for the sake of your children, things would get way more manageable and easy if you set these ground rules and mutually agree to abide by them, so as to make the divorce process smooth. You can thank me later, of course. So, mutually decide to not bring up the past and talk only about the future. What happens is, because of the hurt and anger, you are not talking about how do you want to handle your custody or several other things, but you keep talking about the past. If you keep talking about the past, you keep blaming the other person, and as long as there's blame, there is no accountability, there is no moving forward. So you'll have to decide to mutually not talk about the past. Point number 2, stop talking about the marriage. Once again, it was an unhappy marriage. You were both unsatisfied with each other. You had fights. You had, for whatever reason was behind all of those fights and hurt, and maybe someone cheated. Anything about the marriage itself. As long as you keep talking about what went wrong, providing explanations and justifications, or expecting the other person to provide justification, you'll never go through your divorce process for as long as that happens, because then once you talk about that, then you're distracted from the subject. Then the other person will throw some other accusations at you. Then you're the one who's providing justifications, and this will go on and on. I have seen people waste 10 to 15 years plus of their lives only arguing about the divorce itself. You were wrong, no, you were wrong. You did this, no, you did this. And they keep talking about this, keep wasting their time, and in the meantime, in this time all together, when they were arguing about these little non-issues, their lives could have moved forward. They could have found better people in their lives. They could have had bigger families and a lot of love and care and affection in their life, which they are obviously craving for. But if you don't move past the situation, see, when you are looking for closure, when you are asking the other person why you did this to me, explain why you did this, explain your actions. For as long as you're doing that, you're seeking closure, you're chasing behind them, you're hoping that they will give you an answer and they will ask for your forgiveness. But real life doesn't work that way. In real life, you hardly ever get closure, and you hardly ever have that moment like they show in the movies when there's this big revelation that the other person comes running to you and apologizes and asks for your forgiveness and admits all the things that they did wrong, and all of those things happens in the movies, much less in real life. So don't expect something like that to happen. So when you're done, you're done. You can only ask for the other person to explain or justify their actions to a certain point. After that point, now stop asking for explanations. If the other person did not get you, at some point you have to realize maybe the person is not capable of getting you, or just doesn't give a shit about you. So rather than expecting the other person to somehow start caring and apologizing or recognizing anything, if you have moved on from all of that trying to make it work stage to this stage of your divorce, then it's probably not worth it, and the person has already proven to you that they are not interested in making it work. They're not putting in the effort, and if they're not putting in the effort, then what's the point? And if you are the one who's not putting in the effort, then maybe that's a even bigger indication that you don't even want this marriage, and you thought that it was good for you for whatever reason, but apparently it's not working out that way. So instead of trying to drag a dead-end relationship, admit the facts, learn the reality, and try to make the best of whatever resources you have and try to move on from that. Point number 3, being polite and avoiding passive aggression. So when you're speaking with each other, whether it is in the presence of lawyers or family members or your children itself, whenever you try to speak to each other, try to make sure that you are using good language. There's no name calling, there's no abuse, there's no physical or verbal assault of any kind. Don't pass snarky comments, no taunting, no remarks. For as long as you're doing those things, that will keep the other person on their edge, and your divorce process will not have a smooth sailing pace, because then you will keep arguing about useless things. So stop with that. Point number 4, keeping children outside of vengeance. So I see this happen many times too, that parents try to use their children as pawns for getting information about their ex, and use them against the other parent. If you are trying to do this, remember, these children are going to grow up one day and they're going to understand how you try to use them for your advantage. So make sure that you're ready to face your children's anger actually, and you have a reason and explanation for them. And when you're doing this, remember that if your children are young and they are only learning about relationships, if this is all they see, if they see their parents bickering all the time, if they're nagging each other and ready to kill each other at any moment all the time, this is what they're learning about relationships and about love. So if this is what you want your kids to learn, and this is how you want their kids and their lives, their married lives to be like, then sure, go ahead, fight in front of your kids. That's gonna be a good example, sure, but I don't suggest that you do. I am not even going to try to quote the tons and tons of research that has been done in this area that proves how much of a negative impact these couple fights have on the minds of your children. Your children don't need to see their parents together under the one roof fighting with each other. What they need is two separate happy parents. So if you are in one house and your spouse is in another, but whenever your kids see you, whether they are seeing you or whether they are seeing the other person, whenever individually solo you are a happy person, that's good enough for the kids, trust me. Instead of having you two in separate houses, if they have you under one roof and you're nagging each other all the time, if you hate each other's faces all the time, kids are gonna hate that. Point 5 speaks to acknowledging your mistakes. So if there are two people fighting, it is highly possible that at some point you have also made the mistake and the other person might not have made one. So if you are the one who's making mistakes, please self-reflect. Please take a moment to decide and to think about whatever your actions have been that have caused the other person any kind of pain. Go to therapy, seek professional help. If there are any other underlying issues behind your behavior or your spouse's behavior that has led you to act in a certain way, seek their help and try to work through your issues and channelize your anger and bitterness instead of trying to hide behind feelings and try to hide behind walls and seek attention from all the wrong places. Point number 6, timeouts needed often. So seeing your spouse that you're getting a divorce from is mental stress for you, and seeing them, talking to them, trying to make sense, trying to agree on the same points might be really, really hard, and there might be moments when you're both about to blow up at each other. So take time outs, take breaks when you think the situation is going nowhere and you are both at your moods, when you're both feeling worse off. Take breaks, go your separate ways, do something else for a while, and then see each other when you're both feeling better, you are calmer, and you have a straight head. Sometimes you have been worried about all these things, you have had a sleepless nights, then somebody ran over something on the traffic light, and one thing led to another, and you're already in a bad mood when you go to a meeting, and then when something like that happens, when they disagree with you, you blow out at them. So there can be many reasons and factors and how situations work out when you blow up at someone. So try to make sure that every time you feel you're reaching that point when you're about to blow up, please take breaks and make sure that you are in the best of your modes when you're trying to make these conversations. They are difficult, no doubt. They can be frustrating, no doubt. But still, if you are prepared, if you are being conscious of your mood, if you are being conscious of channelizing your anger, then things can be handled in a much better way. Point 7, value strengths and acknowledge the other person. So obviously, if you married this person, there might be some good in that person. They might have some strengths. In some things you might be having a better shot, and there might be some things that the other person is good at. That might be their strong suit. So whatever you think are your individual strengths. Value them, respect them, and if the other person is good at doing a certain thing, let them do that. And if you think you are the one and they agree that you're the one who's better at handling a certain part of this, whether it is about parenting, whether it is about the legal and logistical stuff, whatever it may be, whatever is easier and better for one person, you can manage that, you can value and respect that. And it doesn't always have to be a bad thing that you're getting a divorce. You don't always have to try to get back at them, or they have to get back at you. You can value each other's strengths and acknowledge each other's efforts even after the divorce. I have seen some couples where the guy's sending flowers to his ex-wife on her birthday, and this, I think, post went viral and people were asking, why are you sending flowers to your ex-wife, blah blah. So the guy explained and said that this ex-wife of mine, even though we are divorced, is still the mother of my children. She gave me the best gift in the entire world, and to love and value her for that, to respect her for that, what I am teaching my children is the value of love and respect. So you don't always have to agree with someone, you don't always have to live under the same roof with someone, and you can still respect them enough to have mutually good feelings for them. You can be generous with them, you can be friendly with them. You don't always have to end it with some kind of enmity between the two of you. So that went viral, and for all the good reasons, I say, and I think many couples can learn from that. I know it's much easier said than done, but you have to start somewhere, right? So these were the 7 points. I hope this might give you and your partner some direction and some inspiration to put down your own ground rules. Of course, you can write down your own ground rules for which both of you agree, and that might be a much tailored and individualized version of your own ground rules. So write your own ground rules and make sure that you are not getting distracted from your goal of getting a divorce. Just because the other person is nice and respectful and friendly doesn't mean you have to go back and hook up with them. I'm not saying that. Don't sleep with them, and don't think that, oh, this marriage is gonna be saved, or I'm gonna give it another chance. No, absolutely not. Definitely not, because there were good reasons why you are at this stage when you even thought of considering a divorce. Happy marriages don't consider divorce. So if you are at this stage and the other person is being nice to you, or you are being nice to them, please be professional as much as you can, even though it's a personal relationship. Be straightforward with them. Talk only point to point. Don't fluctuate either into friendly, where you hook up with them or kiss them or sleep with them, and don't get into the too adverse part of it where you really want to just kill each other. Neither is good. Stay in the middle, stay in the center, where there's complete balance between friendship, respect, and bitterness and hurt. This is your sweet spot. This is where you're gonna be if you want your divorce to move forward in a mutually respectful and friendly way. I want to end this video with a simple thing. Your divorce won't be the entire story of your life. You still get to write a happy ending.